The underworld is a harsh reality, feeding off our vulnerabilities. It thrives on our negative emotions and actions, expanding its power with every anxious, envious, revengeful, and wrathful thought we harbor. Malevolent entities attach themselves to our spirits in these moments, much like parasites. If darkness signifies the absence of light, can we conclude that evil is the absence of good? Contemplating such philosophical questions is vital, as they indirectly nurture the underworld's power, summoning beings better left undisturbed. The sage wisdom of ages past acknowledges that nothing is truly new, even in the murkiest shadows. All that was, is, or will be has already made itself known. However, our comprehension is often lacking, akin to watching a 3D film without the necessary glasses. Discerning the full picture is challenging without the right tools. Our existence blends the ethereal and the tangible, neither element wholly separate from the other. We regularly express gratitude to God, seek forgiveness, and implore His merciful healing. We depend on divine protection to guard us against trials and wickedness. But what happens if we falter, drawn towards the shadowy allure of immense fortune, passionate lovers, and decadence? Hush, a presence is near. Enter Dracula, the timeless emblem of evil. This legendary vampire, known for draining the life essence from his victims, has haunted imaginations since Bram Stoker's initial creation. Dracula symbolizes our deepest fears, darkest desires, and most primitive instincts. Intriguingly, Dracula's influence extends beyond literature and cinema. He's also made a mark in the gaming sphere. Haunted house slot games filled with chilling sound effects, eerie animations, and high-risk bonus rounds provide gamers an engaging and somewhat terrifying experience. However, much like Dracula himself, these games can be deceptively appealing, enticing you with the prospect of victories and supernatural escapades. Hence, keep your virtual garlic at hand, and remember that both in the realm of online gaming and life itself, a strategic and cautious approach always wins. Dracula represents the danger of succumbing to temptation, and the risk of being overwhelmed by our inner demons. Despite his malevolent nature, there's a strange allure that intrigues us. Much like the underworld, Dracula is a force to be reckoned with, a reminder of the power of darkness and the necessity of maintaining vigilance. Remain on your guard. He is real. As we traverse the labyrinth of life, it's vital to stay alert for the threats hidden in the shadows. These dangers, like the infamous vampire, can be attractive and enticing, promising power and pleasure at the cost of our souls. Yet, like the brave souls who faced Dracula in the past, we too must remain vigilant. We must use our wisdom and knowledge like a stake, ready to drive back the advancing darkness. In the end, it's not our physical strength, but the power of our resolve that will determine our fate against the insidious whispers of the night. Once upon a time, in a mysterious realm, our audacious adventurer, Howard Green, embarked on a daring journey to the enigmatic western side of a peculiar lake. His travel companion was none other than Levi, the legendary Leviathan, the enigma of the lake. In preparation for this venture, Howard armed himself with a shotgun, not a task as formidable as he had anticipated. He had a trusty baseball bat too, just in case the shells fell short. The real challenge, however, lay in procuring a sturdy boat. As the boat rocked gently in the tepid water at the end of Howard's dock, Howard stood there, shotgun gripped firmly, the waves lapping lazily at the supports below. Suddenly, there was a surge in the calm water, an undercurrent forming, rushing towards him. Out of the water erupted Levi, the Leviathan, displaying just a fraction of his enormous, serpentine body. Howard grinned at that sight, his gaze met by the cold, penetrating eyes of the Leviathan. A playful banter was exchanged, in which Howard justified his need to explore the lake, his new home, despite Levi's warnings about the perils that lay in the western side. As their conversation ceased, Howard clambered onto the boat and started it up, while Levi glided effortlessly underwater alongside him. Despite his size, Levi preferred to be submerged, for staying above water made him queasy. As they moved towards the western part of the lake, Howard encountered a bewildering array of marine and amphibious creatures, vibrant and terrifying all at once. The creatures ranged from multicolored glowing sharks to a grotesque piranha crab hybrid. Howard even witnessed a gargantuan sea snake, larger than Levi, which he initially found absurd until he realized it was Levi's father. An uncomfortable exchange ensued between the two sea snakes, revealing Levi's complicated relationship with his father, who was quite the authoritative figure. Levi's father expressed his concern about Howard's survival, but Levi brushed it off, backing away and retreating into the water. As they ventured deeper into the western part of the lake, the water became murkier and the scenery took on a gothic touch, teeming with swamp-like trees and eerie creatures. These critters, named Vexers by Levi, seemed to glare at Howard with their glowing eyes. The sight was unnerving, but at least they couldn't swim, he thought with a shudder. In the middle of their conversation, Levi took a sudden dive, leaving Howard momentarily confused. But then an ear-splitting squawk echoed overhead. Looking up, Howard caught sight of a terrifying creature, a gigantic hawk, but not an ordinary one. It was a zombified hawk, decayed yet powerful, its terrifying presence magnified as it locked its gaze onto Howard. He called out to Levi for help, but to his dismay, Levi had disappeared underwater. Just my luck, Howard muttered to himself as he braced himself, shotgun in hand. As the monstrous hawk dived towards him, he took a shot, but it was a miss. The ghastly bird swiftly swooped down and dug its talons into Howard's shoulders, the fierce pain leaving a dark stain on his shirt as the tale of his daring venture continued. Hours turn into days, days into weeks, and weeks into months. Each day is an enigma, packed with oddities and terrors. My body, my abilities, they keep changing, adapting to this cursed lake. The lake that seems to have a life of its own. Despite the overwhelming strangeness of my new existence, the disturbing nature of my evolution, I find an unexpected acceptance blooming within me. The physical changes, the enhanced abilities, they have become my survival kit in this godforsaken place. And in a way, I am grateful. Grateful because without them, I'd probably be lying at the bottom of the lake or torn apart by the monstrosities that lurk in the depths and shadows. I still see Levi from time to time. We have an understanding of sorts, an alliance formed out of shared circumstance. Even his father seems to be less hostile, perhaps even respectful, as my transformation becomes more apparent. But their caution remains, and I'm constantly aware of their watching eyes from the depths below. There are moments in the dead of night when the radiant glow of my skin is the only light piercing the darkness, and I question my reality. Is this truly my life now? Is this what I've become? And every time, the answer is the same. Yes, this is my reality. I've taken to exploring more of the lake, the west side, always avoiding Tomono's territory. The purple water and its master send a chill through my altered being. Levi warns me every time I venture too close. "Don't tempt fate," he would say, his voice echoing eerily beneath the surface. I heeded his advice. I'm not eager to confront that beast. The more I traverse this otherworldly lake, the more I comprehend the myriad of creatures that have been touched by its curse. They are just like me, victims of a force we cannot comprehend, living the best we can within our new reality. At the house, I find myself staring into the mirror, tracing the glowing markings on my body. My reflection, once familiar, is now almost alien. My once hazel eyes now resemble sapphires, bright and brilliant. My skin is as white as snow.
And the veins below the surface shimmer with an eerie iridescence. The changes are horrifying and fascinating at the same time. However, there's one thing that haunts me more than my physical changes. The unending need to dive into the waters, to swim deeper, and to meet the creatures that lurk in the abyss of the lake. A strange longing to become one with them, to fully accept my transformation, to embrace my newfound life. The day I dived into the water, I felt a sense of belonging, as if the lake was welcoming me, as if I was part of something bigger, something old and powerful, as if I was becoming part of Lake Bottomless itself. I know I can't keep this secret forever, my strange existence here at the lake. But for now, it is mine to bear. Each day, I discover new facets of this cryptic reality, and I continue to adapt. I'll keep recording my experiences, sharing my tales with anyone who cares to listen. This is my life now, here at Lake Bottomless.
We moved into a new house a few months ago. During the house buying process, the tenant unexpectedly died at around 40 years old. He passed away right in the middle of the living room. This didn't hinder the sale, the documents were signed, and soon after, we moved into the house. That's when things got really interesting. The very day we moved in, our 2-year-old daughter started talking about a ghost living within the walls. If you think about it logically, she is only 2, and at this age, children are very impressionable. Plus, Halloween had just passed, and she had a Halloween picture book she loved to flip it through. It was entirely possible that all these ghost stories came from browsing through the book. Nonetheless, she was constantly talking about this ghost. She would say it was in her playhouse in the basement. It was on the stairs. The ghost stood in the corner. It seemed that she wasn't scared of it. Rather, she considered it a friend, so I wasn't worried. Even if there was a ghost, it didn't pose a threat to our family. I would often tell this ghost that it could stay as long as it wanted. I would add that it could also leave if it would make it happier. I was about 30% sure that there was some kind of ghost in the house. That was until the day when we were in a rush to get ready in the morning to take our daughter to daycare. It was still dark outside and it was raining. My daughter came up to me and said that the ghost was in the backyard. Then she said that it was the ghost's birthday and she wanted to sing "Happy Birthday" to him. I didn't pay much attention to it again. We sang the ghost a song, wished it happiness, and went about our business. That evening, out of pure curiosity, really, I looked up the obituary of the man who died in our house. Can you guess? It was his damn birthday.